welcome to the Building and Growing podcast. We're delighted to have David Cava with us today.
Woo!
Welcome, David. Legend.
How is it going?
Good,
I'm
mate.
Very happy to be here today.
Mate,
I'm really excited.
So pleased to have you here. You know, David, you've been one of my best mates in London for 7 years. You're a man of many hats.
Man, it's been long, yes.
Yeah.
It's been long, yes.
That's it. I mean, you know, I had hair when we met. You're one of the only people
I
who've
have
seen
more
you
now,
with hair.
man.
Yeah, that's it. But look, David, you're a man of many hats, engineer by trade, songwriter, artist, manager, along with other businesses that you've launched as well on the side. You've got a fantastic story, so we're delighted to go into that today.
No, thank you very much. First of all, I have to say that as somebody that not only does one thing for a living, I really look up to you, man, that you just moved away from the corporate and did and continued and make just the thing that you like and you love, your main thing. I think there's something to be, respected. So
yeah,
man, I wanted to say that first of all.
No, well, look, I mean, and I could fire one right back at you. I remember being, 24, 25 years old and, we'd be out on the beers or having dinner with a few of the boys and you'd go home and you'd keep working. You'd drink an espresso at 10 p.m. and you said you were going home to work on your side hustle.
That's so good, man.
That was inspiration for me and hopefully everyone else, mate.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, dude. So look, why don't we kick off by an introduction? So feel free to tell us all about yourself from, the moment you were born all the way up until today, 2023.
Okay, I'll keep it light for the context of today. So yes, my name is David, and even though I'm an engineer, I work as a software engineer in artificial intelligence here in London. My passion's been always music. So when I was a kid, I started playing the piano, and really early on started to kind of perform in my school. A little bit embarrassing, but you need to start somewhere. And started writing my own songs. And I had my little band in Spain while I was in university, like a lot of people, I guess. But I wanted to really push a little bit harder. And it was never my first thing because my parents, now I understand a little bit more, but at the moment I was so pissed. Like, my parents wanted something safe, as you can imagine, and that's why I started.
They always do.
Yeah, to some extent I gave him credit because I gave him hell at that time, so I'm grateful now. But yes, I studied aerospace engineering while I had this band, and with this band we managed to make it in the radio, and that kind of triggered something in me, like I like this better than I like studying, as you can imagine. And yes, I moved to London where I studied my master's at Imperial, and then at that time I started to meeting some people of the industry that actually gave me the let's say the weapons to take it a step farther. Yeah. And that is when I started going to Miami to write songs with the people in the industry over there. Look, like everyone that I heard on my Spotify, I listened to on my Spotify, I was like, oh, I'm meeting this guy. Oh, I'm meeting this guy. I'm in a writing session with these guys, right? And that was really fun. I used to love it. And by that time, we were working together, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so we were in the office in the same place.
That's it.
And then I would take the plane, go to Miami, 4 days, come back, straight to the desk again.
That's it. Writing songs at lunch.
Oh my God, man, that was nuts. But I love that period of time.
Yeah.
And then after that, we moved on. Like, I think you left the city. I stayed in London, but I started to go more often to Madrid. Yeah. And that's what I started to kind of pursue to try to make it as an artist, right? Like, not just a songwriter. But then pandemic hit. And kind of for me it was an opportunity because that's when I really started singing in Spain or writing, like having songs out on the radio in Spain. Nice. I never had that at that time. Yeah. Before I had some in Venezuela. I managed to be number one, but I never had the chance to go see it or experience it. But that was in the pandemic when I started having songs on the radio in Spain. And that was, 3 years ago. Yeah. 2-3 years ago. And from that moment onwards, I've been actually, releasing more songs in Spain, different labels on my own, writing songs for other people, and yeah, everything. Doing that on the side of my day job, like
Indeed.
Yeah, AI engineer.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And look, mate, like, there's another part which you didn't cover, but you had a little sort of engineering business with a couple of mates as well, which it was also very formidable.
True. That is true. And that was risky.
Yeah.
So, but I can imagine a lot of people watching this. They related to that, right? So, so what Lucas is talking about is that literally when we parted ways, like we stopped working in British Airways, I started a consultancy with a couple of my friends on AI for medium like and small size businesses.
Yeah.
How they could actually make the most out of AI. And it was like 5-6 years ago, so it was quite early on. But there was the problem is that we started to take off. We had a couple of clients in the art space and also legal in Spain and Italy.
Yeah.
And it was starting to take off, but I think the medium and small size businesses probably took the biggest hit during COVID.
Indeed.
You probably know better than I do.
Yeah.
Because I was on the tech side of things, not that much of the business. But yeah, like we saw a lot of our contracts that were about to happen or about to get signed.
Yeah.
Like just going down.
Yeah. It was a hard time, A lot of businesses just didn't want to spend because they didn't know what was going to happen next.
Right, and also one thing that I found that I'm not sure if you probably know this better, the audience probably knows better. I found that medium and small businesses, where when they're trying to like innovate outside of their field, I think they're too spread thin.
Yes.
They spread thin, so they change, like they do the core thing, but for all the side things, they're trying to change focus, but they don't do it properly. It's difficult for them.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, it's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
So we would go there offering something on AI that they actually were interested on, progress with the project, whatever, and then they would come up with some other idea because that was the need of the week, for example, right? So it's a tricky space to go in as a consultant for that kind of sector of companies. That was what I found.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Well, look, I mean, that was another fantastic business. And then, the final, let's say, piece of the puzzle is the work that you do as a manager for your father, Jose Luis Cava's brand. Now, I probably mispronounced his name.
No, that was quite cool.
But, yeah. Tell us about that.
Yeah, true. So yes, that's also interesting. So in my family, I think I got this show business from my father's side, to be honest, because I've grown up with him on TV, radio, doing big talks. But this time, not about music or engineering. It's about stock exchange, like about trading.
Yes.
Right. So basically, my father, Jose Luis Cava, you pronounce it. Cool. Amazing. He's one of the biggest influencers in Spain regarding, in Spanish-speaking language, actually, not just Spain.
Yeah.
Regarding, trading, independent traders, right? He's been, as long as I remember, like on TV shows, on radio, newspapers, on a very independent fashion, right?
Yes.
And, I think everything, for us, I think that COVID was actually a thing that hit it. You know that in these kind of markets, in this kind of industry, everything is very traditional. Like everybody's uptight. You depend on the TVs, on the radios, like the old media, right? But since I was getting the marketing that I needed, like the marketing, knowledge to the extent that I knew it or I know it from the music side, that it was more like, let's say, on the cutting edge side of marketing, given that you're closer to all the, I don't know, TikTok at the moment or before the Instagram, before Twitter, that, these traditional industries wouldn't go there first. Music would go there first, right? So I was always wondering how to mix what I learned or I had to learn as an independent artist for marketing my music. How could I actually brought it across to another industry such as finance?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yes.
Love it.
It's interesting. So
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we're definitely going to dive into that later on in the podcast. But why don't we start off with your music career? So tell us,
Right.
I mean, you've spoken about how things really started to take off for you, back around sort of 2016 when, 2016, 2017, when you gained popularity in Venezuela and became number one. And then you progressed things into Madrid. But tell us about what you were doing and how you got that traction.
Right, I see. So I think that for people watching this podcast, what I have to say is, for me, music has never been the first thing.
Yeah.
I was really pissed and really mad at my parents because of that. But now that I'm in a position that thinking about being a parent myself,
Yeah.
I fully understand. And after being in the industry, I would have doubled down on what my parents did, right? So it was always an obligation to have it on the side. Probably the thing that was more difficult there, or more challenging for me, is I didn't know the path.
Yeah.
I didn't know the path. I don't know, probably more or less like any entrepreneur when it starts, so that trying to do the first company, I didn't know the path. They don't teach you at uni, right? So I was trying to find my uni of music first. And music is not just singing well or performing well. It is, I see it as an entertainment. It's like entertaining business.
Yeah.
So you need to sing well to some extent, write catchy stuff to some extent, know music to some extent, and being interesting or fun for the people to watch, right? But I didn't learn that anywhere. Where I learned it is basically what I told you, like when I started going to Miami.
Yeah.
And if I tell you how I started going to Miami, you will not, like, that was tough. Like, so I was here in my master's, and I was actually living not far away from this studio, and I decided not to go to dorms of my uni because I wanted to know the kind of people.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to know some people that were working in the music industry completely randomly. Look, crazy. They were crazy, but I wanted to have my chance. I was like, I don't mind how these people are or whatever. I need to go with them and record with them.
Yeah.
It was some dodgy situations, man, like really uncomfortable. But in the end, I managed to get a couple of songs out of that that I would have never done otherwise, because I was doing pop and they were the ones telling me, you need to do reggaeton. You're already a little bit like you should be focusing on that.
Yeah.
And at the back of that, when they disappeared.
Far out.
So I was like, it looks like I was going, like something was happening, cooking, and then out of the blue, gone. I didn't know what to do. So at that time, I remember, like, it's very much like, I put it like the normal career of like a student that goes to get a job.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being in like an inflatable mattress in a house of friends for a couple of 3 months. And I was applying for jobs, like for British Airways, where we were working, Jaguar Land Rover, like Bank of England, all these ones in the morning.
Yeah.
And at night, I was preparing my demo, like with the pictures, the videos, like trying to find out what to do, sending it to different labels, sound like something might happen. And nothing was happening. And I think this was the first time that it felt like a roller coaster. And this is kind of the point that I want to convey.
Yeah.
I was not managing my expectations properly. So I had in my head that those songs were amazing, that if they were like at the level of the other ones, I should be playing in the big leagues. And I had that in my head, not really taking into account who you're competing against, what are the tools that I have in hand, how much do I know, how much time actually I'm putting into it. So this thing of not handling expectations properly, it was actually taking me like in small depressions, like making it really, really hard. So this was actually the first time that I experienced it. And at the end, like I even texted the best friend of the girlfriend that I had at the time that actually like broke up with her.
Yeah.
After breaking up with her, I texted her best friend because I knew she was in Miami, so maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, man, like this is
Far
the
out.
last thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this was when actually that last step, like that girl was the one that actually found me my first manager in Miami.
That's
man.
nuts. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. I think, it's really important that you acknowledge and you talk about, the difficulty or the roller coaster that it is, because we all kind of get raised with these Hollywood movies where it's like, yeah, like you want to be a singer, don't worry, it's just going to be like the movie, and everything will work out. But they don't really show the hard
But it's very
times.
similar to, I guess, any entrepreneur, right? Because there's a world that is going on in your head and then reality.
Yeah.
And you need to understand where you are in the whole process and in the whole industry, and where do you fit there and how to move forward. I cannot be in my room not even having like 3 songs thinking like I'm gonna get a Latin Grammy, and that is what I'm living for.
Yeah.
But that's what I was doing wrong, and I think a lot of people do wrong, and what actually makes it harder. Like even if you have like a new job or you want to get promoted, or you start your own company and you think that you should be like, I don't know, getting 10x profits compared to what you're doing at the minute.
Yeah.
You need to understand where you are in order to have your expectations properly. And I think that will help you a lot on the day-to-day basis, living with yourselves and progressing. I don't know if you...
No, I
relate to
agree.
that.
I agree. And there's this saying that I think of, and it's like, for every one step that people see you take, there's 1,000 steps in the background, to do it. And it, like you said, it's for being an artist, for being a business person, for everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember to this day. So for me, well, after I was in Miami, I was there writing with some of the biggest. Well, I look up to these people up till this day. Like I know them as songwriters, as an artist. I've been to their studios. I've been working with them as a songwriter, and it's amazing for anyone that knows Latin music. I could name some like Chino y Nacho, Maui Ricky, Reyes, like a songwriter. Frank Santofimi is another amazing songwriter that is just they got the industry there. So having the opportunity of working with them was and is to this day amazing, right? Like having them as friends. But as you mentioned, like for each step that people see is like behind, like to the point that I got my first song out. This one we managed to be #1 in Venezuela. I had to go to Miami like 6 times. It was actually the second or third song that I managed to release. And it was one there, but over there or over here in Spain, to put it somehow, they didn't even know me. In this thing of, it was tricky thinking that you're at some level and then you experience the whole opposite. And I have to say to this day that it was in my head, and that's why I want to stress this point about expectations, because it kept happening as a pattern. At least for me, and not only music, in other aspects of life, right? In music, for example, another thing that I found quite interesting in this aspect, it was, so there's this artist in Spain called Juan Magán, right? Juan Magán is huge, like historically huge, right? Like in Spain, for anyone that knows, well, I want to say the Iglesias family, because it was the father first and then Enrique. Those are Enrique Iglesias is probably the biggest Spanish artist, like, regarding repercussion in all languages, in all countries. But then probably the next one that we have historically is Juan Magán, right? So as I mentioned, during the pandemic is when I started to push it like as an artist. And a lot of things kind of lined up to get to that point. So that's why now I appreciate like everything that happened. But at the moment I was like, you're a loser, this is not happening. Again, coming back to expectations, but now, like I said, I was like, that was almost magic that all those things lined up.
They lined up.
So I managed to land a song with him.
Nice.
He was only supposed to produce it.
Yeah.
But thanks to all the actually music masters that I did in Miami, almost, that it was not proper uni, but it was where I learned.
Yeah.
I managed to get it to sing with me.
Which is nuts.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, to put you in perspective, I started going out with the music of that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the first parties with my friends. My friends, when I told them,
yeah.
I was like, what are you saying there? It's
Yeah,
not possible,
yeah.
right? The day that we were releasing the song, we were, I remember this like it was yesterday. It was one of the most like worst days in my life.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna be like over the moon.
Mm.
I was so sad, depressed, and pissed with myself.
Yeah.
And the song went all the biggest, like the biggest playlist in Spotify.
Nice.
Like, I remember to this day, New Music Friday Latin. It was J Balvin right before my song with Juan Magán.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen.
It's crazy, yeah.
And I was sad and depressed. Like, this is going nowhere. There's no plan. Why aren't we going to the Latin Grammys with this? I was thinking like that.
Yeah.
At that point. Like,
that's it.
unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
So, what I want to land home with that is now I'm kind of having the same mistakes, but trying to manage those expectations makes my life easier and actually makes the work, I think it's just better.
Yeah, indeed.
Quality is better.
That's it. And I think, it's so important just to keep being consistent and persistent, because sometimes often life is like 80-20, 80% of the results come from 20% or even less of the moments or the opportunities, or podcasts, for example. 80% of the views come from 20% of the podcast.
Right.
Your songs, for example, maybe 80% of the hits or the listens come from 20% of the songs. It's just the way life works. But if you don't keep doing it, then you'll never build up, that percentage.
Totally. I think that to build on that point, besides the work that you need to put on it, for me, there were two major things that actually made it. Well, now looking back, I think they were key, right?
Yeah.
The first one was, as you have in entrepreneurship, there was no clear path taught to me.
Yes.
Right? And I don't understand why. Because now that I look back, I mean, probably in music, there are like two ways of actually getting big or having the chance to get it big.
Yeah.
Why don't they teach them? Same for entrepreneurs. Like, why don't you really teach me, like, what are the key things that I need to do? How do I start a new product? How do I launch a new product? How I do the value proposition testing with people first? How much money do I have to invest for a POC?
Yes.
When do I need to get an accountant? All those things.
Yeah. We don't learn that at uni.
Why don't they teach that in high school? Like, everyone needs that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So that was one, actually. Like, how can I get the path to where I want to go? How can I learn that? And the other one was actually understanding myself. And that probably links a little bit also with the branding, the branding work that we do with my fathers.
Yeah.
It's as you've said before, like, I'm an engineer. Like, I studied aerospace, guys. I studied aerospace engineer. I'm the nerd, top of the nerds, right? Like, and I was always trying to hide that. And that made life difficult in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like, bad.
Yeah.
Like, dude, when we were working together in British Airways, that was David in the office and David on the music. They were like, I tried to keep it separate because I don't know, it didn't feel right. I found that when I said, look, this is who I am.
Yes.
This is my value proposition. This is the core value that I can show to the people. Like, I'm the engineer that actually does music.
Yes. It's your identity.
It unlocked stuff because there's no one, or at least there's no one that does it the way I do it.
Yep.
And I haven't found anyone that can go to a radio interview or TV in Spain and tell the kids, like, this is what I did. Dude, you need to eat. The way to eat probably is studying. Yes. But you put every day an hour aside or 2 hours aside and do what you love.
Yeah. That's it.
Right? And that is what I found to be my value proposition, my value, like what I can share with with the rest of the world, and it makes me different from other artists.
Indeed, yeah. And look, I think, that identity and value proposition are two super important things, and you've done it not only for your own music and for yourself, but also for your father, which is fantastic. So I don't know if you want to transition into talking about what your father does and how you've helped him manage, but if there's anything else you want to say about the music, feel free.
No, I said that at the minute, I'm obviously pursuing that. But as I mentioned, driving again the point home, I don't wake up with the obsession of I need to have a golden record. You talk to my fiance, she'll tell you she'd be pissed about me being depressed day on, day off because I didn't have a gold record. Right? And well, thanks to that, we still releasing songs. I think that our reach has gotten bigger because I actually come down, focused on actually having the best quality music that I can. Having the most fun shows that we can create. And on that track, actually, I'm happy to tell you, I don't know when this is going to be released, but on the 29th of September, we're releasing the next song that we have. That's called Tequila, that I hope that everyone loves. And I hope you like it too, man.
We'll have to link to it, dude.
For sure. Send it over.
No, it's good. The other quote that I thought of before is, you got to love the process, not the end goal. You
that's
gotta
tricky,
love
but you're right.
The music.
I don't do that right.
Because that's what it is. It's a process. Like, I think I've published 54, 55 podcasts now. And if I didn't love sitting down and hearing people's stories, I couldn't do it.
You'd be suffering all days.
You got to love the process. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah. But look, tell us about Jose Luis Cava.
Right.
And, I guess how he started out and what you guys have been building.
Cool. So I think that for context a little bit, I already said that my father is a quite influential trader in Spain. Since having a child, like, the guy's been on TV and the radio. He's got 2 books. Both of them best-selling books in Spanish for trading all around the world, but maybe in Spain, mainly in Spain. The thing is that the trading and finance world has always been quite traditional in all the marketing side of things. Quite traditional on the sense that you need to be on the main TV channels. You need to go to the main newspapers. You need to be on the main radios. And the format was always, and still is today, like very, very standard. Like, you need to have a TV studio with this huge screen at the back, uptight with your suit and tie and shoes and that kind of stuff. So it is very difficult for somebody that is on the outside or casually watching that is probably, I don't know, 60, 70% of the audience.
Yes.
You're not professionals on anything that we watch, right? To differentiate one personality from a different one.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
But the thing, and where I actually started to get this from my father, was like, my father is not politically correct, but not because he curses or anything, because the way he expresses, like, there's a lot of emotion, he talks loud, always saturate the microphones, man. Right? But you could see that there was something on that guy on the suit that made him different from the other guys. Okay? Besides the point that, first off, the content is good. It's quality. He studies a lot. And the content was good. But that was the point that I was like, I do not differentiate. And I know my father, because he's my father. I live with him every day of my life, right? And yes, this was the point where I started thinking, like, wow, but why don't we start using some of the means that we have for the music?
Yes.
Right? And that was kind of the beginning when it clicked, and I would say, why don't we start using music or music marketing techniques, and we apply to finance?
Which is fantastic. And I mean, I've seen a lot of the videos on say YouTube, but how did you get from saying, actually, let's apply what we've been doing in music to finance to then, having the videos on YouTube? Talk us through that process.
So basically, the first point, so at the minute, My father has a YouTube channel, Jose Luis Cava TV. We got around 170,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
We just managed
nuts.
to get there in a year and a half, something like that.
Wow.
You said it before, like, well, I think you did, like, around 2 million plays per month.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So it's crazy.
That's nuts.
But that was not the step zero. Step zero was understanding, like, how do we... I basically wanted to move from a world where we were reliant on all the media to a world where my father actually had more control.
Yeah.
Because one of the main suffering, like, pain points that I was having is that on the music side is that I was heavily reliant on the big labels.
Yep.
Not that much for distribution, but because they right now act like a big marketing companies. They've got all the channels, all the contacts and everything.
Yeah.
But in music, when you become big enough, you really detach yourself from the labels.
Yes.
You don't need them that much. They just can... They're boosters, but they're not key. And I was thinking, okay, my father is it's not huge, but already has some power and some traction to see if we can... Why don't we try to be more independent from the media and we push with our own means?
Yes.
And the first step was Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't use Twitter, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. No, neither do I. Yeah.
So at that point, and we're talking pandemic. He couldn't go to the TVs or anything.
Yes.
So the reach was going down, and nothing was happening. And he was obsessed with the formula. TV screen. So that I need. Like, you don't need anything. Let's try talking in Twitter.
Yes.
And LinkedIn. And you nail in LinkedIn because you are boom. But 4 years ago, there was not that much content in LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I don't know how you're feeling it, but for us, it's not working as well. What was your opinion on LinkedIn posts and so on?
Like, it's interesting. The algorithm, I think, has changed, particularly in the past few weeks, because you're seeing, like, really old content in the feed. 2-week-old, 3-week-old content. So I've, always tried to do videos over the past year. Before that, I would do text posts. But like, if we go back a couple of years, maybe I'd get 50 impressions from a post. Whereas, now, if I don't get at least 1,000 or something, I'm like, all right, something's off.
Right. No, for us, it just didn't get the reach that 3 or 4 years ago we were getting from Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this is the holy grail, but I tried to before running any kind of marketing campaign or anything, try to step away and try to think about who's the user consuming this, or who's the user that is most likely going to consume it.
Yeah.
And at that point, you more or less could guess for the audience that my father was getting, that we're talking about males over 50, 55 that had some kind of savings. They may have been working on the finance industry and so on.
Yeah.
These guys are not on Instagram. These guys are not in TikTok. Well, there was not TikTok there. I think it was Musical.ly by that time.
Yeah.
These guys are in Twitter or reading papers. Let's hit Twitter with all the strength that we can. So at that point, I think that my father was very casually posting.
Yeah.
No. He didn't even have an account. So I told him, like, look, we're going to open Twitter account. You're going to post whatever.
Yeah.
Because one of the problems that we started finding, I found as an artist, is like, wow, they forced me to post with a frequency and intensity that I cannot really, cope with, like put up with. Like, I just cannot. I've got like my morning work.
Yeah.
I just cannot put 3 or 4 different pieces of content. So then I would get tired and I would stop posting. So I would tell my father, like, start posting, whatever. And when I saw how he rolled, I was, okay, this is the ideal frequency for now.
Yeah.
So let's try just to be consistent on, if it's three times a week.
Okay.
Same time of the day.
Yep.
Because we're animals of habits.
Yeah.
And
Indeed.
Like, once somebody does something in a moment in time and comes back to it, it tries to repeat it. I work out every time in the morning.
Yeah.
The other day we needed to work out in the evening. It was horrible, right? So this is the same thing.
Yes.
If people, in this case finance, tend to consume something at a given point in time, they're going to keep doing it. So we increased the frequency to once a day in the morning.
Yes.
Period. And the thing was consistently growing. It was growing. We started like around the 2K, 3K that we got from traditional media.
Yeah.
It quickly bumped up to around 20, 30K followers.
Nice.
We ran some ads. I did it wrong, but something we got out of there. And then we somehow put some viral content. I think at the minute, I don't know if it's 40 or 70K, but anyways, as you can see, we left Twitter like on the side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the next point I want to drive it with the YouTube side of things. But the thing is, find a frequency that suits you and try to post consistently, let's say, the time of day. Like, you don't need to post every day, but if you get in an audience that expects a content at a given time, try to do it. It's not the same for artists, I'd say, because they follow more the persona, like that leads. But for other kind of industries, like, I don't know, tech, finance, real estate, entrepreneurship, people tend to go at more or less at the same time. So if you can be consistent on the time, that helps your audience to come back to you. Yeah,
so that's a really good point about understanding, when and how the audience consume. You mentioned that, like, the finance people before, they looked at Twitter or newspapers. And then, you mentioned the fact that people were consuming in the morning, and therefore you frequently posted in the morning. It's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, and it's not rocket science. As you see, it's just applying what you know from industry A to industry B.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that, even for my job interviews in the engineering space, I always tell, like, I say this a lot of times, like, what I learned in Miami is what's making me, like, pass the interviews in the engineering side of things.
Yeah.
Because I had to not be embarrassed in the music world. However, a lot of engineers, they talk to themselves like this, or they cannot explain themselves, so they cannot clearly convey messages. And I had to be snappy. I had to be quick in Miami because I was surrounded by, like, songwriters that were, like, they were Latin Grammy Award winners.
Yeah.
And I remember being in a room, they were talking about the intro, and me just giving that up, saying, like, look, this is not going to happen. My lines are not coming here. I will start thinking about the next part of the song because it's so that kind of learning that I got from the music and then applied to a different industry.
Yeah.
It was what gave me the edge.
Yes.
So that actually what I think that triggered the really, really step change in my father's marketing side of things.
Yeah.
That it was what I was saying before, like, what is the edge of my father? What is the value that my father is going to give out that actually makes it really stand out from the rest?
Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. And look, one thing, at least from what I've seen, is the coffee with Jose Luis. And, I guess, was that part of, let's say, the proposition and identity that you wanted to build? Was that the first one, or did you iterate to get there?
This is the key, man. And I think this is the, at least on the marketing side. I have to say that before we dive into this, we have to be fair and straight.
Yeah.
If you open your own YouTube channel, if you open your whatever you want, TikTok, Instagram, or whatever, highly unlikely that this will happen. We piggyback on the fame and the reputation that a person had from traditional media. That is very powerful, right?
Yeah, indeed.
And then that gave us the platform that we needed to make the most of. And the key was, how do we, take everything that we got and boost it on our own independently, right? If you are going to start something on your own for the first time with no kind of platform, probably the means are different. What we're discussing here is somebody or some brand that has already some kind of small following or buzz around it.
Yes.
How do we just consolidate it? That's important, because then people can apply this and then
because otherwise, if someone's like, all right, I'm going to film me having a coffee, where are my million views?
Exactly. I want to be clear on that. Yeah. So with that in mind, the point is, okay, you got a person like a persona, a brand, Jose Luis Cava, that is already kind of famous, finance world for the content. He tends to be right on the comments that he says about the stock exchange market whatsoever.
Yeah.
But now, how do you make it stand out? How do you make it stand out? And everything clicked when I was like, look, my father is not like a boss or kind of suit person. Like, what it's really clear about my father is like, it's clear on his opinions. He talks loud. He likes walking in the park in the mornings.
Yeah.
He tries to help as much as he can when whichever situation happens, right?
Yeah.
And he teaches well. I studied with him maths for a long time, or even English. He doesn't know English. He cannot really talk well, but he used to learn the lesson the day before, teaching it to me, and then he would forget, and I would stick with it, right? So that was the kind of person that I was living with. And you could get a glimpse of it in the talks, in the lectures, in the TV. Yeah. Because he was more effective than the other ones. Yeah. The other ones were more like straight formula corporate. Yeah. My father was like, and still is today. Yeah. Like you talking to a friend that tries to help you. Yes. And when I realized that was 2021, 2022, that Twitter was going up. There were some TVs that were actually some YouTube channels. This was the key. There was a YouTube channel that actually did a collaboration with my father. My father went as a guest. Yes. Like I am here for you today. That episode blew up. Yeah. And my father started to think, I need a studio with a screen so we can do that, this, da, 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 da. Yeah. And at that point was when I actually take talk with the 10 to 13-year-old audience, which is booming for the first time. And I was like, do you trust me on this? And I told him this, and he gets mad at this. And if there's any Spaniard watching this, they will. I was like, look, your content is key. It's important, but you got it nailed. But you need to be Omar Montes. Omar Montes is a very famous, right now, artist in Spain. Yes. But started on TV, going to all these like reality shows. Yeah. Like no one like admits that likes him, but then the songs have so many plays. The guy is always in prime time, so the people like it, right? Yeah, yeah. So I was like, you're kind of that guilty pleasure for people. Our value is that you're that guilty pleasure in the finance world, and you need to convey that you're the friend of the people, right? This is personal. They are your friends. The other people don't do that. Yeah. And now looking back, what I was trying to do is to fix that value that our brand was trying to convey. It's very difficult to do that for brands. For example, if you think of this, I saw this the other day, like if you think of Nike, you know they sell shoes, but in their commercials they don't talk about we sell shoes or we do it better than Reebok or we do it better than Fila. Yeah. They talk about the amazing athletics, the amazing sportsmen. Yes. It's beyond that. It's not just shoes. It's about the sport, right? Yeah. So when you talk about Apple, they're fucking amazing on doing laptops and boxes that help you do things. Yeah. But the value that they show goes beyond that. It's about the aesthetics, about like having a stylish lifestyle. That's what I wanted to do with my father. Now that I look back and I can, pinpoint it. Yeah. It was like, we're talking finance and we're helping people like make decisions on finance. But it's more. Like we're friends. We tried to help you the same way that my father helped me while I was studying. Yeah. Yeah. And you need to build that connection with the people. Yes. And how did we do it? Going to the park, having breakfast with them. Yes. And not wearing a suit in any intervention.
Yeah, that's it. No, and it's a good recipe, because you're getting familiar with them, you're educating rather than, doing a direct sale. And that's super important.
Yeah, I think so, because if you have it in your face all the time,
yeah,
highly unlikely. And this was what really made the difference. At that point in time, we needed the text format was not really helping, because you cannot really convey that much, like that friendship that we wanted to convey. That was our brand.
Yeah,
our brand is, we are a friend that is trying to provide you with tools to navigate the economic climate.
Indeed.
That is the brand.
Yeah.
And it's very important. So then at that point, I was like, man, we're not doing Twitter anymore. Like, just, if you won't close the account, like, we don't care. Let's open YouTube. And I was even saying, let's open TikTok first thing.
Yeah.
It was like, David, but I don't know what TikTok is. And we came back to the point, like, you remember that I said, we needed to find the ideal frequency, in this case for my father, to post in Twitter. Now the beast is different. Now you need to record videos.
Yes.
Back to step 0. Like, we need to find the proper frequency for my father to upload videos consistently, because it's just like, start hard, it goes down. Like anything else in life, it's not gonna work.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was key. I was like, man, okay, let's keep it simple. Let's start with YouTube, because again, TikTok was booming for kids, but their parents, that were our audience, they were like 1 or 2 steps behind.
Yes,
they were in YouTube. So I was okay. That was 2 years ago. There were not shorts yet, so it was like, okay, let's record videos in YouTube. And the format was clear. Like, sorry for this, but fuck the studio.
Yeah.
That is not us. That is the rest. We need to show our brand to the world. That is what's really selling. Like, the content is important, but people stick to the value that you show, and that's why they come back. So I was like, this is the thing that we do every morning, man. You come with me for coffee, then I go to the gym, and you go to the park to study.
Yeah.
People want to be with you. People want to feel that you're friends, because actually, look, we talk to them in the comments. They are friends, right? So, so like, how would you treat your friend? And that was the key. It's like, this is a moment in time in the day that I always allocate to myself. Perfect time for recording consistently every day.
Yes.
Every morning, we have a coffee with Jose Luis Cava in the park.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Man, the moment we started on YouTube, that thing worked crazy. Like, I was in YouTube for so long. I was so jealous. Like, what is this? It started to go up. As I said, just showing the brand was making the whole difference with the other traders.
Yeah.
Like, we just, like, they were reaching out.
Yes.
Like, they were asking us, like, how much money you put in your ads?
Yeah.
More or less this amount.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They were coming they're still coming for the brand, for what my father represents. Also, I want to be clear. The content is quality. Like, we were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
I'm sure for the podcast it's the same thing. That for every minute that you see live, like 4, 5, or 6x behind it.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. I mean, yeah, like, quality content's super important, because, if it's kind of like, there's a story about a salesperson. He goes and he sells something to someone, and then it breaks, and he goes to a new company and he says, hey, come and buy my thing. But they're like, actually, last thing you sold me broke, so I'm not going to come and buy anything from you. And it's the same with content. If you consume good content, then you're more likely to go back and consume more.
Exactly. But then the thing is that now we're in a world where when it's like untapped territory, content makes a difference.
Yeah.
But when you play in Champions League, that most of the players have good content, your content doesn't give you the edge. Your content is taken for granted. That is going to be good.
Yes.
So what used to be your job up till the point of playing Champions League Now it's just half your job.
Yes.
Because your content needs to be good, but if you want to step it up, now is where you need to do something different than the rest. For us, and what I think that for people would be the most valuable is like, what do you have that makes you different from the rest? Right?
Yeah.
And this was amazing. Like we started uploading the videos, and we've been uploading for 1 year consistently videos in the morning. So everyone is having breakfast with my father in YouTube. Not doing anything else. That was huge. So if anyone is actually working in space, I don't know, like I'd say probably tech, financial services, consulting, marketing.
Yes. Yeah.
This is something that sounds like it might work for those fields, because everyone wakes up in the morning, probably plays around with LinkedIn or YouTube or something, like watching video.
Yeah.
And it's about before you start at work.
Indeed.
It goes in. I would give it a go 100%.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it brings me into a question that I have. You know, lots of businesses, they spend lots of money on marketing. You know, they might not necessarily get the same results that, you know, your father got. I guess, you know, the caveat is that he did already have, let's say, a brand. But, you know, you made some really good points in terms of identity, like knowing, you know, who the brand is, quality content, posting consistently and frequently. Is there any other advice that you'd give to them?
Yeah, it's important. It's difficult because I'm not an expert on marketing. I'm just doing this more or less like an experiment, right? With me and my father and my fiance, for example, she's in the CRM side of things.
Yeah.
So for the people that do not know CRM, but probably they know if they watch it, but the areas where she's an expert is about the free means of marketing with clients. So that'd be notifications in apps or emails, right? And being myself and also herself within that environment related to AI. She was working on some personalization. And myself, so then, and myself, I was working in AI too, and I'm working in AI. And that actually brought the 2 points together. Like, you need to understand your clients in order to personalize the content.
Yeah.
And then you need to have a clear branding. Otherwise, it's just spread out and it's not clear.
Yeah.
The message is not clear.
Yeah.
Right? So how did it work for us? Our branding was, we're a friend that we're going to help you navigate the economic world. And our audience, I knew it by heart, and my father guessed it. But that was the thing that made it different. Like, we started, as I said, 55-year-old plus males in Spain.
Yeah.
I learned that profile.
Yeah.
We studied their habits.
Yes.
Like, these people wake up at 7. We're going to be the first thing that they see in the morning.
Yeah.
Because they're going to base the things that they do regarding their trades on this. Then we further keep studying our customers. So as I said, like, one thing is our branding, and the other piece that you mentioned, that what else is important?
Yeah.
Knowing your audience.
Yes.
Like, it's key.
Yeah.
For me, when I was DJing here in London, I needed to grab that group of 2-3 girls that were actually vibing with the music.
Yes.
Like, focus on them.
Yeah.
They need to dance, because if they dance, the rest will. And the group will get bigger and bigger and bigger.
I love it.
This is the thing. This was the thing. I needed to find those girls in the audience of my father, right? And this is what we found. These people that actually needed to watch them in the mornings for either their work or what I found later. Because instead of watching reality shows, this audience watch this. Yes. They might not be professional traders or professional in the industry, but they just like to watch it. The way I watch marketing.
Yes.
So that understanding was key.
Yeah.
I want to stress this. Like, you need to have a clear message. People don't understand a lot of messages. Just need to convey one. Understand your audience. And the next thing that I learned from this is trying to apply outsider techniques to another industry. And that is where we started doing shorts.
Fantastic. Yeah. Love it. Look, I mean, for somebody that says that they don't know a lot about marketing, you know a lot about marketing, and you're nailing it. But yeah, look, David, we've covered a lot today. Before we go into takeaways for the audience, is there anything else that you want to discuss?
What else? I think that to kind of close the journey that we've done, or we're doing with my father's brand, is that now it's evolving both on the tools that we use and also mainly driven by the audience. Like the main decisions that are making our strategy change is driven by the audience, what we learn about the audience. For example, now combining these two aspects, the tools and the audience, we decided to start doing shorts before the session in the New York Stock Exchange starts.
Okay.
Because on the audience side of things, we see that some people that are actually casual traders, and they use that information at the very beginning of the session to assess their trades.
Fantastic.
And it's actually relatively easy video to do, because once you finish with your normal video, rotate your phone, record the short.
Yes.
These people really appreciate it. And also leveraging the tools that we have at the moment, right? The same way that we're talking about Twitter, Instagram a few years ago, TikTok. We've also been trying TikTok, but still not there for this kind of audience, I think.
Yeah.
Shorts right now are giving us the edge on the subscriber side of things.
Fantastic.
Like they're literally doubling our subscription rate per day.
Wow.
So it's let's say that it's not helping on the revenue of the channel.
Yeah.
But it's helping on the user base.
Yes. Fantastic.
Right. So I think that is where we are at the minute. Like the more you know your audience, you keep an eye on the tools, try to combine them and make the most of it.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's excellent, David. Thank you for telling us, your father's story as well, because that's fantastic. Well, look, David, just before we end today, are there any takeaways that, you'd like to share with the audience? I guess I know one of the ones that you focused on for yourself was managing expectations. You talked a lot about the proposition from your father's side as well, but are there any other key takeaways that you want to share?
I mean, by all means, like people can take it or leave it. Like I'm no expert on anything what I'm talking about. For my personal experience, things take time. And if they don't take time, they're not going to last.
Yeah.
So given that they take time, you need to understand where you are to really assess where you can get. And that's the point of managing expectations.
Yeah.
You might get a Latin award, like a Latin Grammy award in 10 years' time. That's not today. So you cannot sleep and wake up every day thinking only about that.
Yeah.
Same apply to marketing and finance or other fields. Like you cannot expect to get 1 million subscribers overnight, because that's not going to happen. See where you are. So that to make the journey and the work manageable and you being mentally healthy, for me is key.
Yes.
And then talking about the marketing side of things, again, I'm no expert, but really in this field and more or less everything that I've done in life, really what it's helped me is actually trying to be being the outsider in the room. By that I mean bring the things that make you different up front. That is the key. Like the system is set up for everyone to be vanilla, like everyone going the same path.
Yeah.
How likely is it that you're going to stand out if you've got literally the same things that all the people sitting next to you?
Yeah.
You need to own yourself, own what makes you different, like the good things, of course, like, but and make that shine. Yes. Because that's actually what's going to make you different, and highly likely is going to get you closer to find that value that you offer, and the rest of the other competitors that you have, they don't.
Yeah.
And then honing on that, like honing on your value, because actually, as I said, the moment that you started to play Champions League, we all give for granted the content.
Yeah.
This is highly likely what's going to help you like stand out, at least for what I've seen so far in my experience.
Yeah. Fantastic. Look, David, excellent takeaways, excellent content, and we're looking forward to Tequila being released, mate.
Me too. I hope you like it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lucas, for this.
No worries, mate. Thank you, and we'll make sure that we post a link to the Tequila soundtrack, once you release it, mate.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My
Muchas
pleasure.
gracias.
See ya.
Cheers, man.